Hello everybody, interested people. Jason Boyle's kind of a novice luthier. I have a couple projects that I've been working on. I wanted to give a quick video to everybody who is interested in these projects. This is one I'll be talking with in the second video. It is a 1989 Squire by Fender. It is an early 80s hairband guitar that has been totally destroyed over the years. We're going to try to get this up and running and repaired. It's using a ply body with a rather damaged and broken neck. The neck will obviously have to be trashed, and it's actually the only thing holding it together is the truss bar in between between the neck. It's severely cracked and damaged. But before we get to that, I wanted to talk about this little $65 3/4 scale guitar that I bought from Sam Ash a while back. This is a Squire 3/4 scale Mini by Fender, and I bought this for my daughter and then proceeded to modify it very heavily. So this little $65 guitar is now closer to a $350, $400 guitar. I have redone pretty much everything on this guitar. First thing I did was flatten the neck, flatten out all of the frets, and then polish them all individually. They came from Sam Ash. This was a used 3/4 scale. Came from Sam Ash with just corrosion all over the frets. None of the frets were really played hard, so they were all in really good shape still, and almost completely flat when I took the strings off and flattened everything out. So took care of all of that. Then I decided to replace the bridge. I went with a Stutz bar bridge conversion, and this works amazingly well. I love this little thing. Only little problem I have with this style of tremolo is when you're bending back and then let go, the strings will be out of tune. So you really have to tune the strings either bending back or bending forward. I always trim mine. I always use a tremolo forward on my guitars. So as long as you always do that, it will always stay in tune properly. I really don't have any problems with that so to speak. But a lot of people do. A lot of people claim all the Stutz bars are always out of tune. Well, it's usually because they're bending one way back and forth, and when you do that, when you release, it doesn't keep in tune unless you do it the same way every time. So I always go down. Some people always pull back. Just depends on how you play. I've gone through all of the electronics, and I've used electronics, kind of classic electronics wire. I have a bunch of it over here. The classic cloth wrapped waxed wire for that. In addition to that, one of the tips I always have, if you don't want to have wire slap while you're going extreme on a stage playing your guitar, shaking it around, well, just use some of this stuff. This is an automotive wire wrap for keeping little cables inside of vehicles, for instance speaker cables. It keeps them from rattling around in door panels and things like that. You can buy this stuff for really a dime a dozen on Amazon. I think I spent maybe $5 for this roll, and you just sit there and you just wrap the wires with this stuff, and it holds them to the wire with a little bit of a sticky backing, and you won't hear a single thing out of the wire once it's wrapped inside the body. So I've gone through all of this. The most major upgrade I made to this was the Seymour Duncan pickups. I love the Seymour Duncan pickups I put on here. Since I wasn't sure what my daughter would be long term, I wanted to get something really dynamic for the pickups, and I went with the Everything X set from Seymour Duncan. It's got just a very dynamic playing capability, and if you ever want to look at that, go to Seymour Duncan's website, take a look at what those pickups do. They sound awesome. I love them. The one thing that I might do later on to this guitar, I might actually route out the Stutz bar and countersink that slightly into the body to properly adjust for the heights. Right now, the string height is way too high for the action on this guitar. I had to actually bring the neck up significantly by shimming it in order to get the play action correct. I love the play action on it, but the pickups really aren't high enough. So they really need to be up higher, and there's no way to do that with this pickguard on here and the way the springs work with these pickups. So the only option would be is to ride out the bridge and get it lower on the body, so that you have the play action proper without this giant shim in here causing the pickups to be too low in the realm of working with it. Of course, the other option that I put on this, I put some roller I forget what these are called, to be honest, but the little string holders that are here, and I put some Grover locking tuners on here. I love these Grover locking tuners. They don't look like locking tuners on the backs, which kind of makes it, I think, look better. but they are actually indeed locking tuners. These were really nice. I didn't go and the only thing I do regret, I didn't go through and fill these extra holes. The tuners that were on these Squire Minis have 2 screws, one on each side. The Grover only has 1 screw. I was able to drop these in. I had to drill the neck holes out to a 10mm instead of a 9mm. These come with 9mm holes. Just drill them out to 10mm. The screw holes match up pretty well with the ones that were already there with these specific Grovers, and I'll include a link to those locking tuners in the notes below. Same thing with the Seymour Duncan. I'll leave a link to those, and the Stutz Bar Pro 2 bridge. The volume and tone tuners I used on these. Let's see if I still have them. Mojo Tones, really cool, really nice sounding pots for the tone dials. And I think I went with the CTS, CTS pots on the volume control. I did not replace the 5-way switch. It's a switch. It works really well as it is. I didn't replace the jack because again, it works really well and is what it is. Yeah, so that was my first kind of modification to make a really, really nice, awesome playing 3/4 scale guitar for my daughter. That's the first video. Second video, I'll be talking about the wonderful task of repairing the Fender by Squire 1989 Squire by Fender. These are made in Korea version, so we'll get into that here in the next video. Thanks.